2025 CR 0037995, State versus Kevin Kenneth DeLuz. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Ashley Jones for the state.
Defense.
Zachary Munoz for the defense.
And are you Mr. DeLuz? All right, off the record for a moment. John Young.
John.
Hi. Oh, thank you. If you can move to the other end with your client, we're on the record. All right, we're back on the record. Are you Kevin DeLuz? All right, we're here because there's a violation report. It's the second violation report. Have both parties had a chance to review it?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. They say that he's in the inclusion zone and that he keeps making unauthorized stops while he's on GPS. What are you all requesting, state?
Your Honor, I mean, at this time, the state would be asking for a bond to increase based on the violations.
All right, so why is your client violating his GPS?
Well, Your Honor, I guess first off, for an actual bond increase, I think the state would need to put on actual evidence.
No, they do.
Yeah.
So,
But Your Honor, my client is having issues in getting in contact with his probation officer. He's leaving messages to let him know he's going in for jobs, but he's not. Unfortunately, my client is in a desperate need to get there, and then he's not given. I don't think the problem is he's not given a sufficient 24-hour window. He's giving less than 24 hours notice to his officer, and so I think that's what his continued violations. Now, I understand a lot of
some of these violations, they are not a place of residence.
No,
I mean, they're not a business. They're places of residence. For example, he's in Converse at Northampton Park. He's in Converse at a previous residence.
So, Your Honor, my understanding is my client was actually moving from this.
Buckle up, guys. This one escalates fast. Kevin Kenneth Dew is back in court for violating GPS conditions. Again, the judge wastes no time calling out the second violation report, and the state jumps straight into requesting a bond increase. The defense scrambles, blaming poor communication with the probation officer and short-notice job hunts. But let's be real. The GPS violations aren't just about being late to a haircut. They're about popping up in random neighborhoods and residential areas with no clear explanation. The courtroom tension builds as the judge starts poking holes in every excuse laid out by the defense.
The 8134 Kentura Mills, and you're currently living
at 8545 Copper Sky.
Okay. He's currently living at 8545 Copper Scott.
Copper Sky.
Copper Sky. Sorry, Your Honor. And so I think those addresses were the liquor stores are actually if you turn to the page to the GPS coordinates, it's within 300 feet. If you look at the next in that same shopping mall, the next business over is actually a barber shop. My client is a licensed barber. He is trying to get additional employment. Prior to this case, he actually owned his own business where he would go out and work on IT. He still does do that. However, given the nature of this case and the inability to leave his home and coordinating with that, he's trying to find a more stable employment 9-to-5 type of job.
No, but does anybody want to have the pretrial services officer zoom in? Because there are other things that are being said in this report.
And Your Honor, I mean, we're not going to contest that he's not going to AutoZone, Jiffy Lube, or these locations.
No, but it says the above mentioned defendant has been previously admonished multiple times for making unauthorized stops. When questioned, the defendant, he confirmed that the following listed unauthorized stops were not work-related. So they're saying he's confirming that they're not work-related.
So, well, my client is stating to me, and I'm going to put him under oath here, but he's stating that the location that he.
All right, now it gets real. The defense tries to pivot, claiming Kevin is just out job hunting as a barber, hitting nearby spots like Dollar Tree and AutoZone for essentials. But the judge isn't buying vague answers and liquor store proximity claims. She's done playing detective with GPS data. The core issue. Kevin's been warned before. This isn't a misunderstanding. It's a pattern. His stops weren't job-related, and the reports confirm he admitted that. The court sees it as Kevin testing boundaries and getting too comfortable. And that comfort? It's about to cost him.
Just is describing that he was an unauthorized work-related stop with Walmart, which was for essential needs. And I will, in some of these, Your Honor, the Dollar Tree, the Chef Joe AutoZone, Jiffy Lube, Those were to get car parts, Family Dollar. Those are to get groceries. So it's my client. I understand he's not necessarily following the 24-hour window that his officer wants. Unfortunately, some of these needs are, he doesn't realize he needs them. I've explained to him that he needs to let him know, far in advance and keep written documentation of
Well,
such.
I will tell you, somebody changed his conditions. It was not the court, because I see here his previous condition was no contact with the complainant and full house arrest. Then someone came back and changed it to no harmful or injurious contact with the complainant and partial GPS. Here's the court's problem. He's not following GPS rules. If you don't want to follow GPS rules, then you're not on GPS. And I tell people all of the time, if there's an issue, you can come to the court. If you had an issue with your pretrial services officer being unable to accept your call, or you being unable to contact your pretrial services, all you had to do was make an unauthorized stop to the courthouse, the 187 District Court, which located on the 4th floor. That's all you had to do.
Yeah, Your Honor, and that's partially a scheduling error with myself. My client has reached out to me to ask for a modification to GPS tracking only to assist him to stop having these issues. That is going to be a request that I believe is on file, but I understand it's not set for today. Your Honor, I was the attorney that did modify it. That modification was based upon receiving an affidavit from the complainant stating that she was not in fear of my client. She actually recanted one of the allegations as
All right,
well.
this is what's going to happen. State, do you have witnesses?
We don't, Your Honor, at this time. However, if the court would like to hear from the pretrial officer, the state can try and get a hold of them.
Things hit a nerve here. The judge exposes a backdoor condition change. Kevin's house arrest was quietly downgraded to partial GPS without her knowledge. She shuts it down fast, making it clear that any modification without court involvement is a no-go. She drops a reality check. If you can't follow GPS rules, you lose the privilege. Her voice sharpens, reminding everyone that court isn't a place for post-fact forgiveness. Kevin could have shown up, made his case, asked for adjustments. But instead, he took his chances. And now, the court's done waiting.
All right, we can call in the pretrial services officer. I say we, the state.
Okay.
Are you going to object to them appearing by Zoom?
No, Judge, no.
All right, Ms. Ferguson, if you can have the pretrial services officer zoom in on this case. All right, just have a seat and we will continue. Oh, his pretrial services officer is out of the office. So, Mr. Martinez, could you unmute yourself?
Yes, Your Honor. Joanna Martinez at your service.
Hi, thank you so much, and thank you for zooming in very quickly.
Yes,
All
ma'am.
right. So here's my question. On Deleuze, are you connected with this case, or are you the supervisor? How are you connected with the case?
Mr. Bohack is currently his supervising officer. Since he is out on personal leave, I'm covering the caseload for the time being.
All right. Do you have any objections to his testifying about this? Of course, it will be hearsay.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
would have to object, Your Honor, simply because if there is any questions regarding my client telling him that these aren't work-related, unfortunately, Ms. Martinez didn't have that conversation directly with Mr.
All right.
Deleuze.
All right. So thank you so much for zooming in. Please do not leave, Mr. Martinez. We're back on the record, and 2025 CR 003795, State versus Kevin Kenneth Deleuze. That party is re-announced.
Ashley Jones for the state.
Zachary Munoz for the defense.
And are you Mr. Deleuze? All right. So his pretrial services officer is not available. The person who's come to testify will be Giovanni Martinez.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. The defense has said they're going to object to hearsay because he's not the pretrial services officer. And what I can tell state, I would sustain that objection. So this is what the court is going to do.
The courtroom pauses for a Zoom witness. Officer Martinez steps in since Kevin's assigned officer is out. But defense instantly objects to hearsay, and the judge agrees. Still, she makes her move. She slams down a full GPS order. No more loose tracking, no more excuses. Kevin's on lockdown. Defense pleads that it'll cost him his job and his home. But the judge draws the line. If he wants any shot at a break, he better bring receipts, real proof of employment, job hours, and a legitimate reason to move. No documents. No exceptions.
And Mr. Martinez?
Yes, ma'am.
The court is going to alter and amend his conditions to full GPS.
Yes, ma'am.
You're going to be on full GPS. So you're not allowed to leave your home.
Your Honor, with regards to employment, if the court were to modify it to full GPS house arrest, my client would unfortunately lose his job and then at that point lose his ability to afford the house he's currently in.
Well, what he needs to do is he needs to provide adequate proof that he is employed and where this employment is located, and then the court will reconsider.
Okay, Your Honor.
So he'll need to provide that. And what I can tell you, if you provide that, I'm not trying to make someone be unemployed or not have funds, but if you provide that, then the court will strongly consider allowing you to work on GPS. And let me explain to you what the court's problem is. The court problem is that the report is stating that you are not abiding by their rules and that they've told you before, these are the rules. You have to abide by the rules. I always tell everyone who comes in this court, if there's an issue, then we can come in and we can address that before we get to this point. And this is your second violation report with the court. Normally, we can go off the record. Normally, you know what other courts usually do? They just go ahead and rule on this. There would already been a warrant for your arrest based upon the nature of the offense. And the problem is with the nature of your offense, they have to know where you are located. I'm not the one who puts you on GPS. A magistrate judge or some other judge puts you on GPS, not me. But the rules that judge put in place for your GPS are the rules that I follow. Now, if it comes to a point in time where someone wants their GPS removed, or if they want a curfew or tracking or something else, that's something else we can discuss. What I can tell you in this court, asking for forgiveness instead of permission is not a good way to go. So all you had to do was come in and say, this is what's going on in my life. Can we modify GPS? And sometimes the state will agree on the modification. Sometimes they will not. But what I can tell you is if the state and the defense can't come to an agreement, I'll listen and I'll make a decision. Maybe I'll agree with the state's assessment, maybe not. Maybe I'll agree with the defense's assessment, maybe not. And then sometimes when states and defense, when you all have agreements and I don't think it's appropriate, then I don't agree with it. I don't do it. So let me just tell you what I need from you so that we can be clear. You will need to provide proof of your place of employment, and you will need to provide the hours that you work. And only then will I consider partial GPS for employment. And at that time, what I can tell you, it will be for employment only. You understand? Because I have to act when there is, based upon the nature of your offense, and there are these violation of GPS inclusion zones. And really, it's for your best too, because the complainant could say, you know what? This is where I was and I saw him. Or this is where I was and I saw him. You don't want that to happen. You understand? Yes.
There is no complaint. There is no complaint.
Your Honor,
No.
Stop. I'm done.
thank you.
This is the turning point. The judge breaks down the stakes with surgical precision. She explains the seriousness of the charges, continuous family violence, and why GPS monitoring isn't optional. She makes it clear. She didn't assign GPS, but she's enforcing it. Kevin tries to argue there's no complainant, and the judge snaps. She shuts it down immediately, delivering a powerful reminder. There's a listed complainant on file, and whether they testify or not doesn't erase the charge. Her tone is final. She's done with casual courtroom talk and fake confusion.
Yes, I speak about something else.
No, it's just.
Let me explain something to you.
Shut up. Shut up.
You're saying that there is no complainant. I don't know anything about the facts of your case. You know why? because nobody has presented facts of this case to me. All I know is what you're charged with, and what you're charged with is continuous violence against the family, right? So when there are charges, continuous violence of the family, robbery, murder, whatever it may be, the state, in some cases, you're saying that there is no complainant. There may not be a complainant that's going to come to court, but a complainant exists. Although we have had a case indicted before, none of these prosecutors indicted it without a complainant. But normally, there's supposed to be a complainant. And in your case, looking at the indictment, there's a complainant listed. So there is a complainant. Whether or not that complainant is coming to court or not, that's something for the state and the defense to worry about. I'm just here on this violation report. And what I'm telling you, other judges, and in the past, defense attorneys will tell you on these violations report before I took the bench, you know what previous judges would do? Just do a bond forfeiture or do an increased bond or remain without bond, and you will be brought over in orange. So what I'm telling you is you're going on full GPS. Your officer knows that it's going to be full GPS. Counsel, if he has employment, he needs to provide the hours and proof of employment to pretrial services. And then I will consider whether or not I will allow him to work while on GPS.
Yes, Your Honor. If I may, he has provided that proof to the pretrial service officer who's not here today. I will have him email me that information again and provide that to the court coordinator as well as directly to Mr. Martinez.
And you all should ask Mr. Martinez if he has that. If you want to find out from Mr. Martinez if he has proof that he's employed and what his hours are, then
yes,
I'm assuming there will be no objection to hearsay.
no objection at that point.
State, would you have any objections to Mr. Martinez?
No, ma'am. I'm pretty sure Officer Bohack has got full credentials and everything. I'd be more than happy to provide him with his attorney. Just need a contact information. I'll send it to him right away.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. What's your email address?
It's
Let me have you write it down for me. And Officer Martinez, thank you so much. I'm going to put in the chat the defense counsel's email address.
Thank you, ma'am.
And Rick, I'm sorry, what's your last name? Pena. All right. And if you could include the state's attorney, Rick Pena, is it Richard really? Ricardo.
And Ashley.
All right. So if you can include Ricardo Pena in the email as well, he's the state's attorney. Okay, it's Zacery?
yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. All right, they'll send the email.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then we're also here because he said today, where are we on discovery?
I didn't realize we were already set. Your Honor, I believe we received the discovery on one of the altercations, the other altercation I need to get with the state. I didn't realize it was actually set for today.
I figure since you're already here, so that way he won't have to come back.
I will get with the state and confer with them about some additional discovery I do need. We'd ask, I guess at this point, for a 30-day reset on the actual case.
Okay, just 1 second. Let me go to the summary. All right, it's actually set on May 5th.
That's perfect.
That's a good
yeah, that's a good date. We'll continue to confer about the discovery.
Wrapping things up, the judge drops the final conditions. He even stays on full GPS, no movement unless he proves his job and work hours. She offers a path forward, but it's narrow. Defense promises to resend the documents, and the judge demands they go to both the coordinator and Officer Martinez. Everyone's dismissed, but the warning lingers. This court isn't playing games. Kevin got a chance to stay out of custody, but if he slips again, he won't be walking in next time. He'll be escorted in orange. The message is clear: accountability or consequences.